Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, Ukrainian soldiers are in a total panic, widespread panic, up to the highest level Ukrainian military authority. It is the panic. The military hierarchy, Ukrainian woman, doesn't know what to do anymore. The longer the conflict lasts, the more Russia leaves with new strategies, new war techniques. It seems that this war in Ukraine, Russia has consecrated him as a training, because the more time passes, the more Russia releases new phases. No, this time it's spoiled totally on Ukraine. So let us understand the reason why Russia regularly strikes these days. And then when Russia strikes, Russia hits its targets. Russia has just adopted a new strategy that was discovered in the Pokrovsk region. The fights lately are very intense on the Pokrovsk side. Sorry, it's not easy to pronounce the name of this locality. The fighting have become very intense, and it is a territory that Russia wants to recover no matter what. But the problem is that Russia, and at least Ukraine and NATO, have secured the perimeter. It's extremely secure. Yes, the soldiers are here, soldiers Ukrainians, even if they are sent to eternal rest. But the soldiers Ukrainians are here. Finally, Russia has decided to implement its new strategy. But this new strategy, the Ukrainians did not have saw this coming, and they are overwhelmed. And it works wonderfully. That's it. This is what makes the highest one worried Ukrainian military authority. What is this strategy which makes so much tremble, so much panic the Ukrainian soldiers? Besides, it will be necessary to say the Ukrainian soldiers were forced to make several reports to address to their military hierarchy to tell them that they will handle. So in the framework of this geopolitical video, of this geopolitical conference, it is from this news that we are going to talk about. But before continuing, I ask you humbly to share the video conferencing to the max. Share it in all groups possible. Put a lot of likes, and then there you go. Always leave a word in comment. Let's go deep. According to official information, we learned that if the fate of Pokrovsk was played on the change of strategy by Russia, this change of strategy by Russia, which has been demonstrated according to several army reports, Ukrainian, these reports show that the forces Russians abandoned the assaults classics. They abandoned the assaults classics. If before he came in groups like that to surround a territory, henceforth this is no longer the type of assault they do. They abandoned that. For the moment, it is for Pokrovsk, which was remark. What about other areas, Archive and others? I think it's the same strategy. But it is for Pokrov that they quickly noticed and they made reports. What do they use now? Rely on infiltration. This is the new strategy, infiltration. We are talking about a period of war where there must be assaults. The soldiers come well armed, Gado Gadawa, with their chariot all. We wait. No. Russia has changed strategy. It is infiltration. But how does it work? Let's go into it, the depths. I want to see a lot of shares. According to an officer interviewed by the German media Bild, Russian soldiers take off their uniforms. Maranatha. They now take off their uniforms, so they put on civilian clothes. Do you understand? Russian military soldiers kidnap their uniform. They put on civilian clothes. Let's go deep. So they take off their uniforms in replacing with civilian clothes, mixing with the population, or simply stand on the edge of the roads and keep a low profile when passing our vehicles. That's an officer, a Ukrainian soldier, who did this testimony during his interrogation of his questioning by the German media Bild. In plain terms, Russian officers take off their uniforms. They put on civilian clothes. They mix with the population. We are not so knowing that these are military. They put themselves, either they mix with the population or they stand at the side of the road. They are there like simple, peaceful people populations. But they are Russians and they are there. They observe the passage army. Blended vehicles, Ukrainian. They follow their destination. Where are they going to park? So he goes straight into the city, but in civilian clothes, not in military uniform. What is the result? But you won't believe it. Share it video conferencing. Yes, you won't believe the result. What do they do next? So, they are lightly armed. They are armed anyway, but slightly. they are more discreet. According to testimonies, these soldiers can move in groups across the Ukrainian lines on over several kilometers. It move in groups like simpletons, civilians walking around, or without being detected, okay? Without being detected by allowing information to be given to their superior in order to carry out drone strikes. Here is the result. They put on civilian clothes there, they observe, they look, they move in groups. The vehicles, armored vehicles of Ukrainian soldiers or Ukraine and out, headed towards where? Where do they have? Parked. From there, they send their location, they send all possible coordinates, and then the drones strike at the same time. It's why every strike always succeeds. This is the new method, infiltration. Well, in war as in war, when we are facing of a war of attrition, people are tired. The soldiers are under number sometimes. So there are the inspiration that comes. There is several techniques that you have to try. So finally, it is said that if this strategy can to be worrying, others Ukrainian officers believe that the adoption of such a strategy is the sign of Moscow running out of steam on the Pokrovsk land. So for some, the Russian military are tired. That's why they adopt this new strategy. This is to misunderstand Russia. First, the soldiers are not tired as that such. Russia wants to strike better while protecting a lot of life in the ranks of these soldiers. So here is the new strategy. Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, this worries the weather a lot. And so that was the headline. Thank you. To share it as much as possible. I will come back soon by the grace of Almighty with new news. So it was the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.